Many adults over 50 lose bone strength without realizing it, often from everyday activities that once felt effortless. Osteoporosis is common, affecting nearly a quarter of women and over 1 in 10 men in this age group, and it can lead to fractures that change life in an instant. What if the foods you eat each day were quietly deciding whether you stay active and independent or face months of slow recovery? In this video, you'll learn 4 bone-protecting foods, 4 common bone drainers, and simple swaps you can start using today. Some may be sitting in your kitchen right now. Could some of your go-to snacks and drinks be quietly undermining your bone health without giving you any warning? Bone loss often happens silently. You won't feel your bones thinning or get an early signal that something is wrong. Yet the foods and beverages you choose each day can steadily shift the balance toward either stronger bones or greater fragility. 4 common dietary habits stand out as especially risky for bone strength: high-sodium processed foods, colas and other phosphate-rich drinks, heavy alcohol use, and diets high in ultra-processed foods. Let's start with high-sodium processed foods. Diets high in sodium are associated with increased calcium loss in urine, which over time may contribute to lower bone density. Many packaged snacks, canned soups, frozen meals, and bottled sauces contain far more sodium than your body needs, often well above the American Heart Association's recommended limit of about 2,300 milligrams per day for adults. Because your bones store most of the calcium in your body, losing it steadily can make them more porous and fragile. If sandwiches, convenience meals, or ready-to-eat soups are daily staples, the sodium content alone could be putting unnecessary strain on your bones. Dark colas are another concern, not because of the bubbles themselves, but due to their phosphate additives, often listed as phosphoric acid or phosphates. These can disturb the balance between phosphorus and calcium in your body, and when colas replace milk or calcium-fortified beverages in the diet, calcium intake can drop significantly. Over time, this combination has been linked in some studies to lower bone mineral content. It's not only sodas that may have this effect. Some flavored teas and energy drinks also contain these additives. A quick check before you buy: if the ingredient list includes phosphoric acid, phosphate, or sodium high on the list, it might be worth finding an alternative. Alcohol is best approached with moderation in mind. Heavy or chronic drinking is linked to poorer bone health because it interferes with vitamin D and calcium metabolism, and also disrupts hormones that help protect bone tissue. If you drink, following moderation guidelines, small amounts on occasion may be fine, but regular heavy drinking raises the risk of bone loss over time. Finally, ultra-processed foods as a group are linked to measurable reductions in bone health. Recent studies show that higher intake of these foods, those made mostly of refined ingredients, unhealthy fats, added sugars, and additives, is associated with lower bone mineral density and higher rates of osteoporosis, especially in older adults. These foods are often low in the vitamins, minerals, and protein your bones need for repair, and some contain compounds your body must work harder to process, which can divert resources from bone maintenance. Snack cakes, fast food, sugary cereals, frozen fried foods, and long shelf-life pastries all fit this category. Shifting towards more whole, nutrient-dense options supports both bone strength and overall health. The encouraging news is you don't need to overhaul your entire diet at once. Swapping even 1 or 2 of these bone breakers for better options can reduce mineral loss and start protecting bone density. Choosing lower sodium bread, sparkling water with fruit instead of cola, roasted chicken rather than processed deli meat, or fresh fruit in place of packaged desserts are small changes that can make a measurable difference. When these swaps become part of your regular routine, you'll find they're just as convenient and satisfying. With a clear sense of which foods may be working against you, the next step is to look at those that actively work in your favor. In the following section, we'll explore 4 everyday foods that research links to stronger, healthier bones. Foods you can start adding to your plate right away. If you want to give your bones every advantage, focusing on 4 nutrient-rich foods can make a measurable difference. Supplements can help fill gaps, but food delivers a combination of nutrients that work together in ways pills can't match. These natural combinations are what help your bones hold on to their strength as the years go by. A top choice is fatty fish like salmon, sardines, or mackerel. They're one of the best food sources of vitamin D, which your body needs to absorb calcium effectively. Without enough vitamin D, much of the calcium in your diet never reaches your bones. Most adults benefit from regular vitamin D sources because food and sunlight alone often aren't enough. These fish also supply omega-3 fatty acids, which help reduce inflammation that can contribute to bone breakdown. Canned salmon or sardines with bones give you extra calcium from the soft bones, so they're an easy way to increase intake. Aim for about 4 to 6 ounces of fatty fish twice a week to keep a steady supply of vitamin D and omega-3s in your diet. Dairy foods are another reliable source of bone-building nutrients. Milk, yogurt, and cheese are naturally rich in calcium, and many are fortified with vitamin D. Fortified plant milks such as soy, almond, or oat can offer similar benefits if they list both calcium and vitamin D on the label. Spread calcium intake throughout the day. Your body absorbs it better in smaller amounts. For example, have a cup, about 6 ounces, of yogurt in the morning and a glass of fortified milk in the afternoon, instead of trying to get it all at once. This pattern gives your bones a consistent supply for building and repairs. Leafy greens bring their own set of advantages. Collard greens, kale, bok choy, and broccoli provide calcium along with vitamin K, which helps bind calcium into your bone structure by activating a protein called osteocalcin. Not all grains are equal for calcium. Spinach is high in calcium but also high in oxalates, which block absorption, so choose low oxalate greens when you're counting on calcium. Cooked greens make the calcium even easier to absorb. A daily serving of 1 to 2 cups of cooked greens is a practical target, and pairing them with a small amount of healthy fat like olive oil or avocado boosts absorption of fat-soluble vitamins. Nuts and seeds are another smart addition. Almonds, sunflower seeds, and pumpkin seeds bring magnesium and zinc, minerals that help vitamin D and calcium work together to maintain strong bones. Magnesium converts vitamin D into its active form, while zinc helps with bone tissue renewal. A small handful of nuts, about 1 ounce, or 1 to 2 tablespoons of seeds each day can meaningfully contribute to bone health. For instance, half a cup of almonds contains about 190 milligrams of calcium as well as magnesium, making them a convenient snack you can take anywhere. When you combine these 4 groups over the course of a week, fatty fish for vitamin D and omega-3s, dairy or fortified alternatives for plentiful calcium, leafy greens for calcium and vitamin K, and nuts or seeds for magnesium and zinc, you create the right environment for long-term bone strength. You don't need oversized portions or complex recipes. Adding a 4-ounce piece of salmon twice a week, a daily cup of yogurt or fortified plant milk, a couple of cups of cooked greens most days, and a handful of nuts or spoonful of seeds is enough to give your bones lasting support. Including these foods regularly does more than add nutrients. It helps replace less healthy options that may be wearing your bones down. That shift in what's on your plate can make each meal an opportunity for protection and repair. Simple changes to what's on your plate can make a real difference for your bones. This isn't about strict rules or complicated meal plans. It's about making swaps you enjoy so they become part of your everyday choices. When those swaps replace foods that wear your bones down, each meal becomes a quiet step toward better bone strength. A practical way to start is to pair bone-supporting foods with swaps that remove common bone-harming ingredients. Small, consistent changes add up. For example, swapping a daily cola for sparkling water with lemon removes phosphoric acid found in many sodas, which can throw off your calcium balance, while still giving you something refreshing and fizzy. Switching processed deli meats for roasted or grilled chicken cuts back on excess sodium that can contribute to mineral loss without sacrificing protein. Replacing a store-bought dessert with fruit and yogurt reduces added sugar and gives you an extra calcium boost. Flavor is important, and cutting back on salt doesn't mean sacrificing taste. Try seasoning meals with herbs, spices, citrus juices, vinegars, garlic, and onions instead of high-sodium blends or sauces. These add depth and freshness while helping reduce calcium loss linked to excess sodium. Tip: rinse canned beans or vegetables to cut sodium by nearly half, and choose no salt-added varieties when possible. If you cook with salt substitutes that replace sodium with potassium, be aware they aren't safe for people with kidney problems or for those on medications that affect potassium. Check with your doctor before making the switch. When planning your day, think about spreading out your calcium intake. Tip: spread calcium-rich foods across meals. Your body absorbs calcium better in smaller amounts, aiming for no more than about 500 to 600 milligrams at once. This approach helps you get the most benefit from the calcium you consume, whether it comes from dairy, fortified plant milks, greens, or canned fish with bones. If you take warfarin or similar blood thinners, don't make sudden large changes to your intake of leafy greens or other vitamin K-rich foods. Vitamin K plays a role in both bone strength and blood clotting, so keeping your intake consistent and talking with your doctor before making changes helps avoid unnecessary risk. It also helps to think ahead when eating out. Ask for food to be prepared without added salt, have sauces or dressings served on the side, and look for grilled items instead of smoked, pickled, or cured ones. Menu descriptions like brined, teriyaki, soy, miso, or au jus often signal higher sodium levels. These steps are easy to request and give you more control over what ends up on your plate. When buying packaged foods, compare sodium content between brands. Even similar products can have very different amounts. Choosing the lower sodium option every time you shop makes a difference over months and years. The American Heart Association's Heart Check mark can help you spot items that meet recommended sodium criteria. As you put these swaps into practice, sparkling water instead of cola, fresh protein instead of processed meats, herbs instead of extra salt, they stop feeling like restrictions and start feeling like a better version of your regular meals. Over time, the healthier choice becomes the default, and protecting your bones feels natural. You don't need to change everything at once to see benefits. Start with one swap and one addition today, and build from there. The more these habits settle into your routine, the stronger your foundation for bone health will be. Maintaining bone strength after 50 doesn't require a strict or complicated diet. It comes from small, intentional choices you make day after day. Even replacing one bone-harming food with a better option and adding one nutrient-rich choice can start making a difference. Recent studies link nutrient-rich diets and cutting processed foods with better bone density and lower fracture risk. So every snack, drink, and meal is a chance to support your bones. Remember these 3 takeaways. Eat fatty fish twice a week for vitamin D and omega-3s. Get a calcium source at each meal. Cut high-sodium processed foods and replace colas with sparkling water. If one swap here sounds doable, try it this week and tell us which in the comments. And hit subscribe if you want more practical tips for age well. Small changes now protect your mobility and independence later.